Have you ever wanted to help our show Smash Compare? Well, stick around to the very end to find out how. Welcome to Smash and Compare, and today we're going to discuss special items. These are items that have no place to call home and don't fit into more specific categories like batting or shooting. So please join us as we'll talk about the boss Galaga, Daybreak, Dragoon, Grass, Hammer, Golden Hammer, Sandbag, Soccer Ball, Special Flag, Warp Star, and the one and only Smash Ball. We'll start with the boss Galaga. This little guy, when thrown, will fly up in the air before coming back down and attempt to abduct any foes near the player's last known location. If boss Galaga is successful, it'll attempt to bring them up above the blast line to one-hit KO the character, similar to the beetle item. Though like the beetle, you can escape its clutches by mashing buttons like a desperate man. But be prepared to die if you're over 50% since you probably won't survive the encounter. This item can be attacked however, and if hit once it will change color and become faster. If hit again, then it'll explode into a mess of pixels. There's a possible glitch that can happen if boss Galaga takes a player who is slowed down by a timer. If such a thing happens, then when the player gets back they'll move at normal speed again, except they'll be flying off slower when launched. Boss Galaga will do 3% damage if it hits someone, but it'll do 5% if it's blue, and it'll do varying amounts of damage on its way off screen. This item comes from the arcade game Galaga, where it was not only an enemy, but it could also capture your ship. This item is very faithful to its origin in the way it moves, and what it does, and the arcadey sounds it makes. Now for the Daybreak. This item is really 3 items that the player will have to collect around the stage. When all 3 parts are collected by one person, they access the Daybreak, a big gun that shoots an even bigger laser that does a solid 58%. The laser is insanely powerful and can KO at less than 30%. It's very similar to Dragoon, but if you get hit enough or grab an edge, you'll actually drop the completed item for others to grab. If a team of players collect all the pieces, then whomever got the last piece will get the Daybreak. The character holding it will move as if they had a cracker launcher in Brawl. This item comes from Kid Icarus Uprising and appeared in the Together mode, an online feature in the game that allowed 6 people to battle against each other in teams of 3. The Dragoon is like the Daybreak in that you find 3 pieces. Once you've gathered its nose, cone, body, and tail, your character will hop on the Dragoon, a legendary air ride machine. The screen changes and allows you to lock onto a target to the best of your ability where you can fire the Dragoon. If someone gets hit, then they'll take a good 40% and it'll be an instant kill. You can dodge the attack however, and moves with a great launch resistance such as Ike's Ether will allow the character to survive. The Dragoon can only be assembled once per match, and it's actually impossible to shoot a Dragoon while a final smash is in progress and vice versa. The Dragoon comes from the game Kirby Air Ride, where it can only be ridden in City Trial mode and after all 3 pieces are collected. The Dragoon has the best flying stats of all the stars available to ride in the game. There are items that take a long time to create and program. And then we got Grass. It's the most, unique item of them all. This item is a simple tuft of grass that when pulled on will reveal an item not unlike a capsule. It originates from Super Mario Bros. 2, where the player could pull on the tufts of grass to get a bomb, a magic potion, or most notably, a vegetable. We've all experienced that feeling in Smash Bros. Where we see an item and we're like, I need it, it's mine, no one else touch it. And for some of us, that feeling comes from the hammer. When you pick the hammer up, upbeat music will begin playing and your character will start automatically swinging it. The item allows you to walk and jump, but you won't be able to perform mid-air jumps. The hammer becomes your only attack and defense, though that's all you need because of this item's sheer strength. It does about 22% in every game, but in Smash 64 it did 30%. It also has a lot more knockback in the original Smash 64, making it possibly overpowered, even for a rare item. Though it's not all fun in games, because even though it's difficult for this to happen, the player can still get hit while using the item. And if you get knocked off the stage, then, well... Hello darkness, my old friend. And of course, starting in melee, the hammer has a 12.5% chance of losing its head, meaning that you'll be swinging a stick around doing a whole lot of nothing. The best you can do is run away at that point because the hammer's head is a throwable item that can pretty much kill on contact. Even if it doesn't kill you, the head does 32% when thrown in all games. And if it's smash thrown, then it does 33% in melee and 35% in the other games. Some of the characters hold the hammer itself in some strange ways. King DDD will actually swing both the item hammer and the hammer he usually has, even though only the item hammer hurts people. Pit and Dark Pit will swing the hammer in a choppy manner, and their jumping and walking animations will reference those of Pit in the NES Kid Icarus, and Mewtwo will use telepathy to hold and swing the hammer. So the hammer may have a few flaws, but when it comes to its reputation, not many items are more loved. This item comes from the arcade game Donkey Kong, and it was Mario's first power-up. The way you move and the music is the same as in the original game. Now, to avoid saying the same thing twice, we're going to just list the differences the Golden Hammer has with its regular counterpart. 1. Its design and the way it appears in the battle is different. The Golden Hammer will spawn on a small glowing platform while a jingle plays. 2. The music that plays is different. 3. The Golden Hammer is much rarer, but does more damage, knockback, and has greater hit lag. And when you are better at KOing than the regular hammer, you basically become the god of all items. 4. The knockback is diagonal while the regular hammers are vertical. 5. Though the problem of falling off the stage is still present, players can now float in the air for a short while if they repeatedly tap the attack button. 6. Unlike the original, if a player drops it from taking on too much damage, then the Golden Hammer will vanish on impact with the ground. 7. Though the head of the Golden Hammer won't fall off, the item can still backfire. Sometimes the item will be a squeaky Golden Hammer, which doesn't harm people at all and can still activate counters. This is arguably worse than the hammer head loss because the Golden Hammer lasts longer, so you have more time to get pummeled. The Golden Hammer comes from Wrecking Crew, an old NES Mario game that was once known for being rather obscure. In the game, the Golden Hammer was just a hammer that allowed you to break things faster. And though it never got squeaky, the floating trick still worked. The music is the same between Smash Bros. And Wrecking Crew. One more golden fact for you is if Kirby can eat this item, he can tell if it was squeaky or not. Squeaky Golden Hammers will make a small squeak when Kirby eats them. Here's a question, do you like punching things? Well, if you're playing Smash Bros, I'm assuming you do, so let's talk about the Sandbag. This item, introduced in Melee, is a sandbag that will drop items when hit in battle. It also appeared in the home run contest where you have to hit it with the home run bat as far as you can. In Melee, he is treated like an unplayable character so you can grab and throw him, unlike future games where he is treated as an item. Sandbag, fittingly also used as a punching bag to train on and brawl in Smash 3DS/Wii U's online waiting rooms. And if you hack, such as using the debug menu in Melee, then you can actually play as Sandbag. And though almost every action will crash the game, it is still pretty hilarious to watch. This is another one of those weird items. The soccer ball is really just that, and if you attack it, then it'll launch forward hitting anyone in its path. Stronger attacks will make the soccer ball do more damage and knockback. In Brawl, you have to launch the soccer ball fast enough for it to catch on fire and cause damage. In Smash 4, the physics are a bit more realistic, so if you attack a soccer ball, then no matter how slow, it'll still hurt people. In both games, however, once the soccer ball loses momentum, it'll freeze dead in its tracks and harmlessly fall down. The soccer ball probably originates from Super Mario Strikers, a Mario sports game centered around 5-on-5 soccer matches. In that game, you could do a Super Strike. Each character had a Super Strike that, if done right, would get the ball in the net no matter what. Mario's Super Strike happens to have fire around the ball, which is where the fire around the item most likely comes from. Thought grass was the simplest item? It is, but the special flag comes really close. This is a yellow 8-bit flag that if you pick it up and stay still and vulnerable for 3 seconds, will give you another stock if you're in a stock match and a point if you're in a time match. This item can be hard to use, but it's pretty helpful. This flag has appeared in many Namco Bandai games, but it first appeared in the game Rowley X, where it was worth more points than normal flags. There are few things more fun than riding on a Warp Star. I mean, what Kirby fan doesn't have nostalgic memories of riding these babies to other parts of the level? Luckily, Smash Bros knows this, because in Melee we got the Warp Star and we've had it ever since. Grabbing the Warp Star will shoot you straight into the air past the blast line. Then, by steering left and right, you can slam down on your opponents and crush them. Well, it's more like crush into them with an explosion, but still. The Warp Star sends you crashing down on the first platform you hit, so don't be surprised if this item isn't working in your favor on stages like Rumble Falls. The sound effect was changed in Smash 4 to further replicate the sound effect used in the actual Kirby games. Fun fact, Yoshi's the only character who can shield the Warp Star, though only with proper timing. And of course in Brawl, if you use a Warp Star and pause while you're in the air, then the camera will have a lot more freedom than usual. This item obviously comes from the Kirby games. Kirby uses them to travel to other parts of levels and secret areas, and would usually crash violently, destroying itself. And now, to discuss the almighty and great Smash Ball. The Smash Ball is a spear with the Smash Bros logo on it and flies around aimlessly. If a character manages to break it by dealing 43% damage or so, then the screen will darken and the character will have yellow eyes along with rainbow energy surrounding them. If they press the special button, then it depends on the character, but it's usually an epic move called a Final Smash. Final Smashes were actually going to be in Smash 64 and Melee, but they sadly got cut due to a combination of technical issues and time constraints. Smash Balls are an original Smash item, and boy are they fun. And that's it! You might be thinking we forgot two huge items, the Pokeball / Master Ball and Assist Trophy. We'll get to those in future episodes. There's a ton of comparing for those ones. Guess what though? Smash Compare is on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure to follow us on there because we post daily Smash facts, polls, giveaways, and updates on the show. Leave a like if you want and let us know what you thought of today's episode in the comments. Hop on the bandwagon and follow my Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and Tumblr. Thanks a bunch for watching and we'll speak with you soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching all the way to the end of Smash Compare. Now, what we need are a few volunteers to help us with the show. If you are an editor or you want to help us collect footage, those are the two positions that we really need. And yes, it is only volunteer. Unfortunately, I can't afford to pay you guys. So this is purely for experience and exposure and getting practice with making YouTube videos and that kind of stuff. So what we're really asking for you guys isn't a lot. It's just a little bit of time. You need some equipment and there's a few other things. So to start off, we need people that are really going to be dedicated. If you really enjoy Smash Compare, we need people that are dedicated to the show and people that are willing to communicate with me and the Smash Compare team around 3 to 5 times a week on Skype. If you can do that, awesome. We also need people that are passionate about Smash Bros, understand at least the game's basics, and of course, understand YouTube culture. It's really important to have both of those things down. Also, a few pieces of equipment that you're going to need is an HD capture card. The lowest settings that we need in terms of what it can capture is 720p, 60 frames per second. 1080p, 60 frames per second would be better. It might also be a good idea to have a somewhat powerful computer so you can do these things in a quick manner. And it's also required that you have all of the Smash Bros games. Now, you can have emulators for say Smash 64, Melee, and even Brawl using the Dolphin emulator or Project 64. That's perfectly fine. Smash 3DS is not required. We're actually working on getting a 3DS capture card ourselves, so we will get the 3DS Smash footage for future episodes if required. And the last thing is we edit with Adobe Premiere Pro. And that's not to say that things like Final Cut are a bad thing to edit with, but it's just that we have very specific presets for editing Smash Compare through Premiere Pro. So if you want to edit, we really need you to have some experience with Premiere Pro. We can teach you if you're really eager to learn, but that's pretty much it. So if you're interested in editing or if you want to help us get footage, please email me at nathanielbandy@hotmail.com. And in the email, tell me why you're interested as well as show me some of your examples in terms of editing, or if you just want to help us get footage, then I can go into more details about that. Thank you guys for watching, and if anyone does want to help, it would be very appreciated.